So in these percent mixture problems, I like to try to make things into buckets. I think in my brain that kind of makes things make more sense. So here we have a problem. In the lab, Sam has two solutions, and each of the solutions contain alcohol, and he's going to mix them together. So I kind of like to think about it like I have one beaker full of stuff and another beaker full of stuff, and that's going to be equal to this third beaker full of stuff. And so they give me some information, solution A and then solution B. And so I'm going to kind of fill in what goes into these beakers. I'm going to use the top part of my beaker to represent amounts. So anything that's an amount, I'm going to put in the top part of my beaker. And anything that's a percentage, I'm going to put in the bottom of my beaker. So if I look at this first line here, it says solution A is 60% alcohol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 60% down in the bottom part here of the beaker, except we don't want to write it as a percentage. We want to write it as a decimal. So 60% is the same as 0.60. So 0.60. Solution B is 10% alcohol, so 0.10. And then the next line says he uses 800 milliliters of solution A. So that's the amount for solution A. So that's going to go in the top here. So we're going to put an 800 here in the top. And then it says how many milliliters of solution B does he use? So by asking how many milliliters of solution B does he use, that shows us we don't know what solution B is. So we're going to give it a variable. We'll call it X. And then it says the resulting mixture is 30% alcohol. So we're going to put the 30 down here. Now, in this case, notice that I don't have a number up here. But if I'm mixing the two together, so if I take 800 milliliters here and however many milliliters here, these 2 milliliters combined would give me the total here. So the total in this other bucket is going to be 800 plus X. And so what I want to look at is finding the concentration equation here. Since I only have one variable, I just need to worry about finding the concentration equation. And the way that we find the concentration is by taking the percentage times the amount. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything together in these buckets. So the first bucket, we're going to have 800 times 0.60. The second bucket's going to give me 0.10x. And the third bucket's going to give me 0.30 times that whole entire quantity, 800 plus x. So my concentration equation, the equation I'm going to use here, is that 800 times 0.60 plus 0.10x equals 0.30 times 800 plus x. And so if I work some of these things out, so I need to figure out what's 800 times 0.6. And so that's 480. So I have 480 plus 0.10x equals, I need to multiply the 0.30 times the 800 and the 0.30 times x. So I'm going to have 0.30 times 800 plus 0.30x. If I multiply 0.30 times 800, we end up with 240. So I have 480 plus 0.10x equals 240 plus 0.30x. So now all I have to do is solve for x. So I would like to get the x's onto the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 0.30x from both sides. 0.30x, not 30x. So left on this left-hand side, I have 480 minus 0.20x equals 240. I'll now subtract 480 from both sides. So negative 0.20x is going to be equal to negative 240, because 240 minus 480 is negative 240. And now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 0.20. So x is going to be 1200 So I'm going to need 1,200 milligrams. So we need 1,200 milligrams of that 10% solution. So, again, I think that these buckets tend to help make stuff be a little clearer. So I have more problems, so let's try another one here. Okay, so this says 2 factory plants are making TV panels. Yesterday, plant A produced 300 fewer panels than plant B did. And then it says 2% of the panels from plant A and 4% of the panels from plant B were defective. How many panels did plant B produce if the 2 plants together produced 900 defective panels? Okay, so this one is not 2 mixtures, right? But if you think about it in terms of words, we're talking about the defective plant A's plus the defective plant B TVs is equal to the total defective panels. And the total defective panels in this case, so they told us that information. That's the part right here. It says that together they produced 900 defective panels. So this grand total is 900. They also told us a little bit more information. They said that 2%, so here it says 2% of the panels from plant A end up being defective. So it's kind of like the concentration problem. We need to take the percentage times the number of plants. So the defective plants A in plant A is going to be the percent that's defective times the number in plant A. And the same for the defective plants, the defective TVs from plant B. It's going to be the percent that's defective in plant B times the number from plant B. Okay, so this first part here says 2% of the panels from plant A. So that 2% is this part right here. It's 0.02. Remember, we have to write it as a decimal. And then it tells us 4% of the panels from plant B were defective. So that's going to be 0.04. We're going to end up multiplying that times stuff. So the only other part that I haven't used from this word problem is the part that says plant A produced 3,000 fewer panels than plant B. So they didn't tell me any information about how many were in plant B. So we're just going to call that X. So the number that's in plant B, that's just going to be X. But they told me that in plant A produced 3,000 fewer. So it's however many X produced minus 3,000. And so now I have this nice little equation. I'll kind of write it in one nice line here. But basically we have 0.02 times X minus 3,000 plus 0.04X equals 900. And I just have to solve this. So I need to distribute the 0.02. So 0.02x minus 0.02 times 3,000 plus 0.04x equals 900. So 0.02x minus 0.02 times 3,000 ends up being 60. Plus 0.04x has to equal 900. And if I add the like terms together, I get 0.06x minus 60 equals 900. So I'm going to add 60 to both sides. So 0.06x equals 960. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 0.06. So 960 divided by 0.06 ends up being 16,000. And then we have to look for what the question asked us to find. So the question asked, how many panels did plant B produce? So if you look, the number of panels that plant B produced, that was this right here, the X. And I just found what X was, right? So X is that 16,000. So that is the number of defective panels or the total number of panels plant B made. So plant B made 16,000 TV panels. This problem, I would say, is probably, I think, the hardest word problem because it's not quite as easy as the bucket method. And it's just kind of because the bucket method you don't exactly have a bucket method here to work with because you're not mixing two solutions together. The bucket method is really good when you're mixing two things together. But I have two more examples here, so let's try them out. So this one says, Abdul invested his savings in two investment funds. The amount he invested in Fund A was $5,000 less than the amount he invested in Fund B. Fund A returned an 8% profit. Fund B returned a 4% profit. How much did he invest in Fund B if the total profit? Okay, so this is very similar to the last problem. We're just talking about money here instead of TV panels. So again, the profit from Fund A plus the profit from Fund B is going to be equal to the total profit, right? How much he gets from each of his funds is going to equal the total. And they told us what the total was. The total is $920. They also told us, so the profit, just like in the last example, the profit is going to be the percent times the amount in Fund A. And this profit from B is going to be the percent of the profit he's getting times the amount in B. So if we notice, right, it says that there's an 8% profit in Fund A. So this is going to be 0.08. And there is a 4% profit in Fund B. So this is going to be 0.04. Then if you look, it says, how much did he invest in Fund B? So since that's what we're looking for, we're going to call that amount in Fund B that X. And then it says the amount he invested in Fund A was $5,000 less than, so that keyword less than there should tip you off that we're talking about subtraction, is less than the amount he invested in Fund B. So the amount in A is what was in B minus 5,000 because it's 5,000 less. So if I write down the equation we have 0.08 times X minus 5,000 plus 0.04X equals 920. We're going to take this 0.08 and we're going to distribute it. So we're going to have 0.08X minus 0.08 times 5,000 plus 0.04X equals 920. I need to multiply that 0.08 times 5,000. So that's 400. So 0.08X minus 400 plus 0.04X equals 920. If I add the 0.08 and the 0.04 together, we get 0.12x minus 400 equals 920. So we're going to add 400 to both sides. So 0.12x equals 1320. And so we're going to divide both sides by 1320. And so if I take 1320 divided by 0.12, we end up with 11,000. And remember, X represented what we were looking for. So how much did he invest in Fund B? He invested $11,000 in Fund B. So again, the ones where they kind of, you're not actually mixing two things together, it's a little easier if you write these equations. And so I have one more example here, so let's see what it looks like. This says, Amanda, so again, it's another investment one, right? So Amanda invested her savings in 2 investment funds. The amount she received in Fund A was 3 times as much as the amount she received in Fund B. Fund A returned 7% profit. Fund B returned 6% profit. How much did she invest if the total profit is $2,430? Okay, so again, we're going to have the profit from A plus the profit from B equals the total profit. And they give me the total profit, it's $2,430. And then just like my last two, right, we're going to have the percent times the amount and the percent times the amount. Right? So it says Fund A returns 7% profit, so that's going to be 0.07. Fund B returns 6% profit, so 0.06. Again, if you look, it says how much did she invest in Fund B? So that's what we're looking for. So we're going to call that X. So the amount in Fund B is what we're looking for. We're calling that X. And then it says the amount she invested in Fund A was 3 times as much as she invested in Fund B. So the amount that's in B is X, and we want 3 times. That's the key part here, this 3 times. So the way that we would write that is 3x. So if I go to write down what this is, I have 0.07 times 3x plus 0.06x equals 2,430. 0.07 times 3 is 0.21. So this becomes 0.21x plus 0.06x equals 2,430. If I add those two x terms together, I end up with 0.27x equals 2,430. Divide both sides by 0.27. X ends up being, so 2,430 divided by 0.27, 9,000. So how much did she invest in Fund B? She invested $9,000 in Fund B.